Hi everyone, my name is Jackie and welcome back to another Budget With Me video. We're going to be budgeting out the last paycheck of April 2022 using a zero-based budget, and I like to do it on Excel. I've created this template myself, and if you'd like to purchase it, it's for sale. The link is down below. And yeah, so let's just jump in and get to doing the budget. For those of you who are new to the channel, I like to budget out every single paycheck, not just the month, and this really does help to get a handle of the cash flow and how things are coming in and out of the hands. And it helped my husband and I to not only get out of the paycheck to paycheck cycle, even though this is a paycheck to paycheck budget, it helps you get out of the cycle of living paycheck to paycheck. It helps you to stop being late for things or not having enough money at the end of the month for things, because you can kind of see how things progress with every individual paycheck. I mentioned this before, even if you don't get paid every week, I encourage you to update your budget every single week anyways, because your budget ultimately becomes a tracker, so you can see patterns. That point you can kind of assess, hey, are there some areas I'm spending too much in? Are there some expenses that I'm not really utilizing that I can cut out? Do I need to make more money because it's not reflecting my lifestyle? And it kind of helps you to assess what's going on, and then it helps you project future months based on some of those irregular bills. You can kind of get a better idea of how much you're actually spending. So the first thing I do on my weekly budget is I go on my husband's pay stub and I see what was he actually paid versus on what I projected. And my husband gets paid $30 an hour. So now I make this black because that is the official amount, and we're closing out the month, you guys. So I get to actually make the actual amount black. Now I have my budgeted amount. This is where I started the month at. This is the projections I had at the beginning of the month, and then the actual amount shows me what did we actually get. Now I consider us having an irregular income just because sometimes my husband has overtime, sometimes he doesn't. I make a little bit of money on YouTube, some of that money comes over, and sometimes I'm delivering for Amazon Flex or DoorDash, and again, some of that money might come over. So those are kind of irregular numbers. We do our best to project out what it's going to look like, but then we don't know until that week's happening. So my husband did have the 10 hours of overtime, which is $45 an hour, so time and a half for overtime. They're currently working 10-hour days, so this is kind of a pretty consistent thing. So I'm going to make that black because it was the $450. And so for the month, we originally budgeted $2,250 for his overtime, but he did end up working a Saturday. So you saw here on the 15th where he had $810 worth of overtime. So he actually had $2,610 worth of overtime. I originally was projecting about $409 for myself. I decided not to deliver for Amazon Flex this last weekend, or this last week rather. So I only brought over $338.08. So I didn't bring anything over ending out the month. For our cash back for Discover, we estimated 20. It was actually 45.49, and then our interest on the bank account we estimated 166 or 64, and it was only 133. So we had been taking money out of savings because we're trying to pay cash for our back patio project that should be done in the next couple months. So this is kind of going a little bit lower because we don't have as much in there from what we had before. So moving down, like you can see what we've done. So the goal was $2,600 into the emergency fund. We originally were shooting for $3,600. I actually changed this to $3,200 because $400 of that was for a month worth of food, but I have managed to stock up enough for us to have a month worth of mostly just mainly our dinners. So we have like a month worth of our dinners on hand, and we're continuing to build up the stockpile to make a 3-month supply of dinners and then a month supply of like breakfast, lunch type things. So I lowered it because we don't need that $400 in savings because we'll have the physical food on hand. So we were doing $520 the other paychecks. This week we only have to do $120. So I'm gonna make this blue because that tells me at a glance when I'm looking at my template, this money wasn't spent and gone, but this money was put into savings or invested. So I'm gonna make closing out the month. So $2,200 was added into there. Now, if you watched my May budget, I actually changed some of my categories and I moved some of the expenses around to be in different categories, and we're shooting for certain percents moving forward. So definitely check out Wednesday's May budget video if you missed it. So on the side here, I just, I keep track of the account. So where's the money at in the accounts? So when the money hits the bank account, it goes into a checking account that I nicknamed income. So I already know 120 of that out of my husband's paycheck is already assigned to savings, so I know not to spend that on something else. And I know to transfer that. I had an automatic transfer set up for the other paychecks, and now I canceled it because moving forward, we're going to be focusing on paying off some of the debt and not necessarily doing the emergency fund anymore. We didn't add anything for giving this week, so ending out the month, we spent $71.85 on giving. And then our taxes were the same as last paycheck. So $53 to federal, $21.45 to Arizona State, $23.95 to Medicare, and $102 for Social Security. So I make that black because these are gone. This was already deducted out of my husband's paycheck and sent off to those companies. So for the entire month, you can see we had higher taxes from what we had planned, and that's because my husband made more money, so we got taxed more. So I'm going to make these black because those are the official amounts for the month of April. We did not have any insurance come out for April. This was my husband's first month at the new job. So starting in May, we will have the insurance and the life insurance, the health insurance and life insurance coming out. So now, if you notice, if you guys will follow on a weekly basis, we have, these were blue. These were in blue before because I had those sitting in savings waiting for their due dates. Now I've pulled them out of savings. They're in the necessities checking account, which you'll see right here. They're in this account waiting because on the 1st, in a few days, they're going to be coming out. Everything's going to be coming out. So that money is out, ready to go. So we need to put $523.67 out of this paycheck to make that final payment. So we're cutting it really close this month, but we did it. So real quick, before I get down too much further, I want to touch on a few of the comments. So every month on my Friday Budget With Me videos, if you leave a comment, I share them on the next video. So thank you for the 5 people that commented today. And I wanted to touch on, so Trapped Under Ice says, great job with this month's budget. You and Ricky are doing a great job. So thank you very much. I also talked about last week about liking the fact that we get paid every single week because we have that cash flow every single week. So Annie for Horses says, I miss my monthly paycheck from her last job because she had one big paycheck. She would pay all the bills for the month and then hope that she had enough for food, rainy days, and gas. Like I mentioned before, you can always leave a comment on today's video to be shared next week. You can share words of encouragement. You can share how your budget is different than my budget, or you can ask questions about the budget or about budgeting in general that you might have that maybe I can assist with. So thank you so much for saying that. Yeah, we're doing a good job. So then we have $323.52 that's going to be going towards the house projects. Again, if you watched budget for May, we're trying to finish that last little bit. Maybe it's going to take us like 1 or 2 more months to finish out that, but we'll have that back patio done, which we've been waiting for a year for all the supplies to come in. So ready for it to come. Now I already went grocery shopping. So this is what I spent. I spent $115 at the grocery store. Let me see, I got my receipt. I spent $115.89, okay? So $89.89 was for food. I did not do any stocking up for this particular week, so I'll make that black because that's done. So for the month, we originally were trying to do $550. This is before I decided to try to stock up. So we actually spent $593.92. So that includes our regular food and then, like I mentioned, stocking up those meals, those dinners. So for personal care household, I didn't plan anything originally, but then I decided let's try to stock up again because we were starting to run out of things. So we had a year's supply of some of our personal care items and we had a year's supply of the household items, and I was running out. So I was like, okay, we got to start building up those supplies again. So I did buy another thing of toilet paper, which was $10. So now I officially am back up to my year's supply of toilet paper. And then I spent $5 on sponges. So I officially have my year's supply of the sponges again. So those are done. And this is black because that's finishing out the month. So we did end up spending $56 on personal care and $163 on household items that we didn't initially plan for. So as you can see here, the project, we actually were trying to put $543 towards the project. We're only able to do $323. So obviously, if you go over your budget in one category, it's got to come from somewhere else. You got to balance that. So now out of this particular week, we're going to have the $60 for the cell phone. Now this is my daughter and my husband's cell phone. They're each $30. My cell phone gets covered by my YouTube and the DoorDash, all that income. So that's $30 for my cell phone. And then the internet was $106. And again, that stuff pays for that. Our electric bill, I mentioned this last week, we officially got the bill, so that was $27.49. So I love summertime because we have solar panels. Our electric bill usually gets really, really low. Sometimes we get a credit, so we'll see. $81 for our solar. So these are kind of cutting it a little closer than normal, but that's not due till the 7th of May, so we have the money put aside. And then we officially got the water, sewer, trash bill. So that was $76.19. So I originally budgeted $75, so it was a little higher than planned, but that's okay. We juggled the numbers around. So now, like I mentioned, the truck payment, the teardrop payment, those are in the necessities account. They're ready to be withdrawn. The gas we spent last week was $88.83. We budgeted $100. So we're going to budget $100 again this week, and it might be a little less. We'll see. So we originally budgeted $400 for gas for the month, but we're looking closer like $440. So for next month, I went ahead and said, okay, instead of trying to budget, originally we were budgeting $80, decided to up it to $100. So next month we're actually going to do $90. So again, some of these categories, when you're budgeting ahead of time, you don't really know what it's going to look like until you're in there and you're living it and you're doing it. But this helps you to go back and say, okay, how much are we actually spending, right? So you can see like 78, 73, well, 99. That's because I fill up my car, 88. So we also have that to consider. Insurance is the $223. So we have that ready to go. That gets charged onto the credit card, and then we pay that off. Same thing, the cell phones, those get charged on the credit card, and then we pay that off, just so we can earn a little bit of cash back. I do not encourage you to use credit cards if you don't already have the habit of paying it off every single month at the least. We actually pay our balance off every single week because we get paid every week. Ricky did end up spending another $11.53 towards the motorcycle. So like I mentioned, he kind of wrecked his bike, which kind of sucks. So that was $527.04 that he spent on there. So that extra overtime that he got basically went to cover part of that. In addition, we are not able to pay for the tags for the truck this month. We moved that to May. So that would have been the $366.94. This is due in July, so we're still got a few months to worry about that, so we're not paying for it out of this month. And then we did not do any commission job money for my girls. We're just kind of, we're living a little bit above our means with these debt payments, so we're not able to do the commission jobs for 2022. Our goal is to pay off the teardrops, so hopefully we can start to bring those back for my kids next year. And real quick, I want to talk about while we're talking about my girls, Arcadia and Elsa. I mentioned that Arcadia made the principal list and my daughter made the honor roll, which basically means straight A's and A's and B's. So a lot of you reached out and said congratulations, so thank you so much. So Well Behaved Wallet says well done to both of your kiddos for making the honor roll and principals list. Trapped Under Ice also said congrats on making the honor roll. Annie for Horses says congrats on making honor roll. Jillian says good job girls, and Heather says well done to those girls. What an achievement. So thank you guys so much for chiming in and just giving them well wishes. I will be sure to share the comments with them. So the next thing I had was the extra debt payoff. So everything I brought from my self-employment came directly down to pay extra on the teardrop. So I actually made that payment on the 25th, and so I paid an extra $318.08 off on our teardrop trailer. So high five to that. Like I mentioned, I've changed what some of these are. You have to take a look at May's budget. So then the last category we get down is the fun category. So eating out kind of changed a little bit. So we have a little bit, the extra money we didn't spend on gas moved down to eating out. And then we had $11.86 left over from what we spent that had to be covered out of this paycheck. Drinks for the house again, I'm talking about beer and wine for the house again, is $27, and then Ricky's NOS was $11. So I'm gonna make these orange because these will be in the bank account. Then once I go and I pay, so these were charged on the credit card. Once I go and pay the credit card off, they become black because the money's now gone out of the account. And then same thing, once the bills come out, those become black because that money is gone. That tells my brain that's gone. So orange right now is telling me like this money's in the bank, but it's already for something. So that way, if I logged on the bank and I said, oh, I got $1,000 in that account, I can actually take a look on the side here and say, no, I don't got $2,000 to spend. It's already for bills. Oh, no, I don't got $1,000 to spend. It's already for something else. So I can look ahead of time, you know, if I was planning, you know, $100 for fun, that's when I can say, okay, we're going to have $100. How do we want to spend it? So yeah, so I encourage you guys, budget out every single paycheck, budget out the months. If you want to pick up my template, it is for sale on Etsy. The link is down below. You can change the titles to reflect whatever you want to reflect. You can kind of mix and match where you want things. As of right now, the amount of lines that are on there are kind of what's set on there. If you do want to add lines or take lines out, that might be something I would have to help you with because it would kind of affect some of the auto calculations because I have it doing math automatically for you to do the zero-based budgeting method. But I'd love to hear from you guys again. Like I said, every single Friday, any comment that you leave, I share on the next week, whether it's words of encouragement, how your budget is different than my budget, or if you have questions about different parts of budget, or maybe there's something you're thinking about that you spend money on that I don't spend money on, and maybe I just categorize it differently so you're curious about that. But as always, thanks for watching, and I hope you got your May budget in order, and I'll see you soon. Bye.